got the bus because we started talking about alternative ways of living. We had a house with 2,400 square foot and the kids were much smaller at the time, but we just seemed to have a lot of kid cruft everywhere and a lot of things and a lot of stuff and constantly churning through it or giving it away or throwing things in the dumpster. And we were also doing house remodel at the time, so it just felt like we had a lot of things everywhere and we really just got tired of curating things. The bus was sort of like a mantra to take and say, well, if it doesn't fit in the bus, we don't need it. And so we started using that idea and that containerization and what do we really need, and we continued to reduce things. And I think that was really the drive for this was what's the minimum essentials do we really need to have a comfortable family home? And I think this is kind of what we've found for Equilibrium right now. It's definitely improved our lives for the number of things that we have to deal with. Having much less and higher quality has been really a huge improvement in our lives. Hey, I'm Aaron Bockley. This is the Broccoli Bus, and we call it Broccoli Bus 6 on Instagram. We have 6 folks that live in here. My 4 kids, my wife and I, and then we also have 2 dogs and a cat. So to start with, very first part is our kitchen. This is a relatively tight efficiency kitchen, which takes up both sides. We have just a standard domestic refrigerator. It's called a Liber. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like a 14 cubic foot fridge. If I dare open it, you can see it's got quite a bit of space in there. And it's also the freezers on the bottom down here. So this has worked really, really well for us. We have our little door latch there to keep it shut. We can jam a lot of fresh food in here. We tend to put fruit and vegetables that don't need to be refrigerated in baskets and things in the kitchen and other storage areas. The last time we did a major restock was about 2 weeks ago, so we can go quite a long ways on this fridge, and honestly the freezer is completely packed, so we really haven't eaten anything out of the freezer part yet, so we just sort of keep that for more reserves in case we can't get to a grocery store right away. So it lasts quite a while. Moving back, we have our stove here. This is a 24-inch, just like an apartment stove in range. So it is designed to be installed with either propane or natural gas, so it's been rejetted for propane. And then we have all of our cabinetry around here, various lights and things to see what's going on. There's a little area for, like, trays and things like that. And then this is our large pantry that we have here. So our big pantry has all of the big stuff in it. So this is where we can really eat out of the pantry for quite a long time. We have a lot of dry goods and all this stuff set up pretty well in here. Then above top up here is like a bread area for keeping tortillas and loaves of bread and rolls and things like that. More pots and pans and things down here. And then over on this side is the sink and more cabinets. We have our spices. We have all of our silverware and things in here. All these drawers are actually designed to be used with, let's use this one here. This is the spices here. These are all commercial kitchen pans. So these are like the same kind of pans you'd see when you're getting a sandwich at Subway. The same commercial shape fits in these, so we can change them out for full, third, quarter, things like that. Our water faucet is kind of fancy, so we have this guy here, which is the main water, of course. And then we have a reverse osmosis tap, which is this guy here. So that really helps out a lot with things. And then we also have an ice machine that we refill, so we like to have ice all the time when we can. I think that works well enough considering how many people we have and how we have dedicated drive space. In order to really make this different, we would have to have rearranged the entire layout to really change what we'd want. We've seen several kitchen setups now that I think it would be nice to have everything on one side and sort of pass over far on the other side. I think that'd be better, like kind of an angle. That angle really does help with space efficiency, but this has worked pretty well for us. The only thing is a bit of a tight squeeze sometimes when there's like 3 people in here trying to work at the same time. So our bathroom is actually spread across the hallway on both sides. So our toilet's on this side, and this is sort of our cleaning closet area. So we have vacuum cleaner, the brooms and the mops and things like that. Our towels and whatnot are in here, and then our secret stash of toilet paper is hiding in there. And then our shower is on this side over here. So shower is also dual storage for laundry. So we have just a normal Home Depot 30-inch shower knock-in thing. It's just like one of those panel setups. So I liked having a full-size real shower in here. It's pretty great to have that. And then towel storage above here for things, you know, rags and whatever, and some more of our secret stash up here. The air conditioner sitting right here is actually intentional. So when we're taking showers and things, this runs in condensation mode and is basically our vent for moist air. So it collects the moist air and dumps it right out without having to pull air out of the vehicle. We have two air conditioning heads. There's one up front which services the main area. This is a 12,000 BTU unit, and then there's a 9,000 BTU unit that's in the back. That's for because it gets closed off with doors, and also the laundry runs back there, so we need to kind of manage the temperature that way. Obviously you can see that it's running right now. It's set at like 68 or 69, and we're running just off of the sun completely. In the nighttime, this thing draws off the battery all night long, and then in the morning, you know, if it's hot and it's hot at nighttime, our battery gets down to maybe 50% at the most, and then on those really hot sunny days it comes right back up again to full power. Because we have lithium batteries, it's not 50% as the end of it. We can go way deeper than that, but that's just sort of worst case scenario. So it works fantastic for our vehicle size. And so finally, the last part of the bathroom after the shower is around here is our sink. So this is like the bathroom sink. The idea is that the bathroom has split into three pieces: the toilet, the shower, and the sink. So everybody can rotate through the stations when it's time for bed at nighttime, because there's a lot of folks. And so we have like medicine cabinets, toothbrushes, soap, and all the hair dryers and things are in this cabinetry over here. After the sink and bathroom area here is the main living area. So the main living area is where we visit at. This is where our large TV is at. This is where the fireplace is at. The fireplace is sort of a nice countertop just for putting everything else at. It's not a real fireplace, it's just to pretend, but it looks really great. And then this is a bed as well. So Amanda and I, this is our main bedroom at nighttime. So I can just pull this out and I just make this up. So it's pretty much these cushions tuck under there. I just pull those bits. This folds down, and now we have a full-size bed for things. Making it is basically a matter of rolling up our sheets like a burrito and shoving it in the hole, and then putting the pillows back. So it's pretty nice and easy to make this bed. This area right here is closed off from the back. We have a door, so we can take the sliding door and shut this. And this keeps the kids in their space and keeps us kind of an adult time over here. The TV over here, it pulls down like this. Oh, almost pulls down. There we go. So it's like a fireplace mount television. So when we're sitting and watching TV, it's at a normal height instead of really up in the air a lot, because I don't like watching TV like that. So this all holds in place really well while we're driving. So moving back from the main living area is the kid and the laundry area. So this is like utility land over here. We have our dryer and our washer. They're also solar powered and run off of just the sun. We have our book area for storage for homeschooling. Got all our books and things in here. Ava's gigantic skateboard. And then what we have here is the four living arrangement areas for the kids. So Ava, Brixby, Anders, and Audrey, this is their beds here. And then they have their own air conditioning set up in here. This is to keep them comfortable. Over on this side over here is their clothes. So all of their clothes comes out. So this is their closet drawers that they get. So they can tuck things away in their beds, and they also have these drawers too. Coming back a little further this is the hump where the engine is at. So right underneath this area is kind of open and available, so engine work can be accessed from the back side here. Got a little work table. This little work table here is just for the kids to do whatever, so lots of Play-Doh things and all sorts of other stuff happens here. Sometimes schoolwork happens. This is the litter box for the cat. So he's got his little cat flap, and there's a fan that vents everything out of the bus, so we don't ever smell that, which is really fantastic. Then a laser printer for schoolwork and office things and whatever, and the kids have their little TV back here. And then various storage cubbies for baskets and stuff and games and whatever else it might be that's back here. So this is the front area up here. Where we drive, when we're driving, everybody rides in this area. So Anders has his booster seat. The kids all have their seats. Amanda has her seat, and then I have mine, of course. And these are seats that came out of a minivan. They're pretty comfortable. One of my favorite aspects is that they have what's called stow and go. So there's the third row or center row. So all of these seats can fold down like this, and if we want to reconfigure or change how we're setting things up. The driver's seat console up here, I redid all of the console because it was still Bluebird school bus stuff. It's got more stuff relevant to being a RV now. Our GPS, tire pressure monitor, the front facing, the road camera in the front, all that stuff is there. And then I have like a couple radios. I have a CB radio and a ham radio up here. The seat back here, when we're not driving, is my office. It's a quick transform into an office space from a riding area. It just takes a few steps, so I have to fold the steering wheel up. And then I use the stow and go seat to fold this down, which pulls that away. Then I have a little folding table here. It brings that up. And I just bring my monitor down like this. So once I've tucked that there, I get my conveniently stashed keyboard and mouse and plug it in. And that's basically an office at that point. So then I just turn my computer on, up, it stays in here. And this is my work office. So I work remote, do lots of video calls and chats that way, and just a lot of discussion during the day. So I have a web camera and headphones and that sort of thing. I do get a lot of questions about where I'm at sometimes from clients. It's pretty entertaining. So I'm going to just briefly talk about some of the power systems and life support systems, you might call it, that we have here. This is our battery system though. It's based off of a Nissan Leaf. So this is the second gen Nissan Leaf batteries. This is effectively 25 kilowatt hours of power. It's equivalent to, it's like 1600 amp hours of power that's usable. Or if you were going with lead acid as a comparison, it's like having 3200 amp hours of lead acid batteries. So our air conditioning, all of our everything runs off of this. Washer, dryer, toasters, you name it. So this was decanned and reassembled into this shape. Right now with the air conditioning running, we're at 100% battery. We're consuming 9 amps of current, and our voltage is 56.58 volts right now. So this will just basically sit like this all day while we run AC. Tonight, as it cools off a little bit, probably won't draw nearly as much power. And if we ran the AC all night long, we don't usually have to because it cools off enough right now. It'll be just a little bit to come back up again. And as it gets hotter and hotter with the AC running, the depth of discharge goes more and more. That's our main consumer of power. So on the other side over there, we had the batteries. Those are fed over across the vehicle through some conduit into the electrical cabinet. We have dual inverters over here. You can hear their little fans are running. There's an additional cooling fan system that draws cooler air from the cabin area to displace the hot air inside this space. So this is a split phase system, meaning it's 230 volts instead of just 120. This is the DC cabinet, and what we have is a bunch of converters that convert the 48 volt battery system down to 12 for all the RV 12 volt things and lights and whatnot. So in here is the electrical cabinet for 12 volt. And it looks complicated, but I promise it's not. There's just a bunch of fuses for all the DC circuits and a lot of control for water pumps and lights and switches and fans and things like that. That's all it is. This is the AC distribution cabinet for the higher voltage stuff. So inside of here is our safety interconnect for emergency rapid shutoff, as well as the interconnect for shore power and also powering all the AC things. So we have breakers for the air conditioning, the washer dryer, and all the house circuits inside of here. Right here is a little tube. This is what's called blaze cut, and it's a dry fire extinguishing media. So if there's a fire or something hot in here, this thing melts and disperses the discharge material. The inverters, the power, the solar, and everything is configured off of an e-stop that's connected to fire suppression. So in the case of fire or just a manual shutdown, all electrical gets cut off from the vehicle. And then I have what's called the Venus GX over here, which is an integration system. And these all talk to each other in an intelligent manner and share information. They also talk to the battery, and the battery can boss these guys around depending on its state of things. In this space is all of the solar safety equipment. So inside of this box is high voltage from the roof. So we have surge suppressors and circuit breakers, fuses I should say. And then we have an emergency rapid shutdown switch. We also have an e-stop for all of the electrical. So if you need to shut off the battery and the inverters and the shore power, you hit that and it all cuts to dead. The battery is still, of course, containing energy, but it's cut off right as close as possible to the battery. This is the plumbing access bay. Our hoses and things are in here for filling up the tanks. This is our filtration system, which has been very, very important for us. Water can be salty and strange or kind of funny tasting or whatever, or maybe there's none at all. So if we have to pull water from a source like a river or whatever, we have a reverse osmosis system that secondary filters the bulk storage tanks that we have. These filters here are primary filtration to the bulk storage. So we have little shutoffs for all of our lines and things up in the cabin area. And then we have like a pressure tank, the hot water heater, and then that box right there with the numbers is thermal regulation. So we have a space heater in here and several heating systems to keep this thing warm in freezing environments. We rebuilt our motor recently, did an in-frame, and during that time we added a second alternator. So this bus doesn't have a generator. The only generator we have is the secondary alternator here, which feeds an inverter system and then is plugged into the generator inputs on the inverter setup that's the Victron components. This allows us to drive and generate up to about 800 watts of power off of the system while we're driving anywhere. So if you're doing a long drive day and the weather's bad, it really does make a pretty significant improvement in power state of charge. This is the air conditioning condenser unit here. So there's the two circuits that come in. There's both of those heads inside are running here. We generally don't run the air conditioning when we're driving, just because the efficiency necessary, or the output necessary to keep it cool while moving, because of air leaks, it's a big vehicle, it tends to run the power down. So maybe a future expansion right here with this extra pulley will be an engine-driven air conditioning system. My professional work teaches people how to be functional in teams, potentially remotely, and how to communicate more clearly, and how to use tools and processes that enable remote and distributed work environments. So I maybe have a bit of rose-tinted glasses about that, but I do feel that you have to decide whether the role that you want to accept is one that is okay to work remote in. The places that seem nice are also the places that are almost too expensive to afford. When we look at the cost of a house and the cost of property and things like that, it's just enormously expensive for a family of 6 to be able to get into a house. I think that my future holds something along the lines of combining remote work with having a house or a homestead or a property that's remote enough that I can afford, or I want to afford. I think that's where the eventual solution for this will end up being. It's a bit of a necessity, but it's also by choice to say that we can be happy with much less, and being able to gaze out the window in the terrible weather, or to have all the doors and windows open in really nice weather and just expand our space to the area around us is really freeing. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I think that has brought us together as a family a lot closer. Finding that balance and getting everybody to work together has been our challenge and our reward for doing this. Thanks for taking a little tour on our bus. It's been our home for a while now, and we've really put a lot of work into it to try to make it that. I hope it inspires you to build something that fits your life and your lifestyle and is comfortable. I'm always available for asking questions and things, and from technical to perspective, and as Amanda as well. Amanda runs our Instagram channel, BroccoliBus6. You can just reach me at Aaron Bockley on Instagram, and we also have a blog, Bockley.com or BroccoliBus.com. Either one goes to the same place. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy your afternoon.